the $1 million question, I guess. How do you build a strong credit score?
Great question, because your credit score really does matter, more than you would think. It's more than just a number. It can affect everything from the rate on your practice loan to your ability to buy a home, and even it could even impact the premiums you have to pay for insurances. Uh, because you're going into your career with so much debt, assuming you have student loans, right? You may want to have other access to debt, to more debt, right? Because you can use debt as a lever to build more income. So you may want to have a HELOC, or you may want to have a business line of credit, right? You may want to purchase the real estate that's tied to your practice. And so credit is important. It's something that you should be monitoring before you're getting to that year that you need to take a loan. And so if you're just getting out of school, you're just starting out, you can use there's a lot of different free services to monitor your credit score. Credit Karma, I know Chase Bank has it already built in. They just have like a little dashboard where you can look and see what your credit score is, or a range of what your credit score might be based on your credit. So how can you increase your credit score, build that? You got to pay on time always. You have to have a good record and solid payment history. That's the biggest factor in your credit score. Like even one late payment can have a big impact. I remember I was switching accounts and doing different things. We sold a property, and in all the jumble of everything, one of my loan payments got turned off from auto pay. I thought it was on auto pay,
Oh, no.
and I missed it, and my credit score dropped. That was like the first time I had ever missed a loan payment, and my credit score dropped like almost 100 points just from that. It took about, I want to say, 8 months to fully bounce back. And fortunately, I didn't need the credit at the time for anything, but that's how big one payment, big of an impact it can have. So just make sure you're setting up auto pay and reminders to avoid missing payments like that. Keep your credit utilization low. That means not maxing out all of your credit cards. And so you want to be ideally using less than 30% of your available credit. For top scores, it's under 10%. And one easy way to increase like your credit utilization score, or to lower it, is to actually increase your credit availability. And so you'll be able to, as you earn more, increase the available credit on your credit cards and your loans. And so sometimes your bank will see that your deposits are increasing, and they'll send you something in the mail and say, "Hey, you're eligible now to increase your credit card from 25,000 to 50,000." Yeah, you're not going to use that extra 25,000, but take advantage of that. And if your bank's not reaching out, maybe you had an increase in income where now you can expand your credit limits on your cards. Reach out to your bank or your credit card companies and say, "Hey, I'm earning more money. I wanted to see if I would be eligible to increase the limits on my credit card." So do that as your earnings grow. Do that periodically, and then use less than 30% of that available credit to keep your credit score strong. Establish a long credit history. Can't do a ton about that now at this point if you're listening to this webinar, but don't close old accounts unless there's a good reason. So you may have opened up a credit card when you were a teenager, maybe your parents did, or for me, I remember I had opened up a card like my freshman year of college at American Eagle or something like that. And I didn't realize early on that by closing some of these old things, I had one at like American Eagle and JC Penney, right? You start closing those old accounts you're never going to use again. Yeah, that impacts your credit score because now your credit history is getting crunched down. And so keep those old accounts intact. Don't get aggressive about closing them until after you've taken care of all your financing needs if you're going
Funny
to be
you,
buying a practice.
it's funny you say that because that was when the first time my credit took a dip was I had all these open accounts and I was like, I'm gonna go close all these. I'm not using them anymore. And then yeah, the available credit shrunk. So and the length of them. And I was looking back at my credit history lately, and it's kind of funny because I have like this one that's like 20 something years old from when I was in high school, and I needed
Yep.
to buy new tires, and I got a line of credit to buy tires for my car. And that's still it still shows that I have some 20 plus year credit history on my account that it shows as like an A plus on my credit score.
Yeah. And Matt, those things can actually have the opposite effect because you may be at at a store, you're in line, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, we can get you $200 off today if you sign up for the
Yeah,
credit card."
yeah,
Well, if you start adding a lot of these new accounts, well, those are going to show as new accounts, and so really, like if your average account is 5 years or more, it's going to have a stronger impact on your credit card than having like on your credit score than having like five accounts that only have a year's worth of history. They
mhm,
want to see that history and that you're paying those credit cards. And once you have multiple accounts open and that they all have like 5 plus years, those can help you. But the new accounts certainly will not be helping your credit score.
right.
So watch those. Just be aware. I think if you're starting to prepare for loans, practice loans and things of that nature, home loans, be aware of what new cards you're opening. And then limit the hard credit inquiries. This really can be done. You're eligible for one free credit report every year, and so you can pull that from Equifax and see what your credit is. Really, the only time you're going to be pulling a hard credit inquiry is if you're applying for a new loan. That's the typical thing that's going to require a credit pull. And then use a mix of credit types, credit cards, auto loans, student loans, mortgages, all of those things. Credit to me isn't something that we're like monitoring for most of our clients. When you're trying to buy a practice, I think the things that pull more weight, even more so than credit, is the cash flow of the practice you're going to buy. You have some savings that you've built up, right? And what is your production? I've talked to so many like associates that don't even know what their production is off the top of their head. And I'm like, how do you not know? Like your pay is 30% of production or net collections, right? Or whatever it is, you should have a pretty good idea. And knowing what you can produce, and if you're buying a practice that has a lot of dentistry that can be brought in and having confidence like, yeah, I can add a lot of dentistry to this practice. It's just a bread and butter dentistry practice, right? I think if you can communicate that to a lender, they're going to be pretty excited to give you money. They'll know like, yeah, you're going to turn that practice around. You're going to have great success, and um, they're not going to be too worried about your ability to pay that practice loan back.